Good morning. Welcome to the glorification of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Tuesday, 9th July. We are continuing with the discussion on Canto 1, the creation, Chapter 9, the passing away of Bhīṣmadeva in the presence of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And we will continue the purport of verses 6 and 7. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are continuing with verses 6 and 7. Does anyone want to unmute yourself and recite the verses, please? Number 6 and 7.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can try.
Okay.
Parvato narado dhomyo Bhagavan Badarayanaha Brihadashvo Bharadvajaha Shashishyo Renukasutaha Vashishtha Indra Pramadat Rito Gritsamadositaha Kakshivan Gautamo Drishcha Kaushikotha Sudarshanaha. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. That was very nice. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Actually, I will read the word to word also because, as we discussed yesterday, just taking these devotees' names, it's very, very purifying. Parvataha, Parvatamuni, Naradaha, Narad Muni, Dhaumya, Dhaumya, Bhagavan, incarnation of Godhead, Badarayanaha, Vyasadev, Brihadasvaha, Brihadasva, Bharadvaja, Bharadvaj, Sashishya, along with disciples, Renukasutaha, Parshuram, Vashishtaha, Vashishta, Indra Pramadaha, Indra Pramada, Tritaha, Trita, Gritsmadaha, Gritsmada, Asitaha, Asita, Kakshivan, Kakshivan, Gautamaha, Gautam, Atrihi, Atri, Cha, and Kaushikaha, Kaushika, Atha, as well as Sudarshanaha, Sudarshan. All the sages like Parvat Muni, Narad, Dhaumya, Vyasa, the incarnation of God, Brihadasva, Bharadvaj, and Parshuram and disciples, Vashishta, Indra Trita, Gritasmad, Asit, Kakshivan, Gautam, Atri, Kaushika, and Sudarshan were present. So we discussed yesterday Parvat Muni, Narad Muni, and Dhaumya. The next one is Badarayana, Vasudeva, Vyasadeva, sorry. He is known as Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Dvaipayana, Satyavati Suta, Parasharya, Parasatmaja, Badarayana, Vedavyas, etc. He was the son of Mahamuni Parashar in the womb of Satyavati prior to her betrothal with Maharaj Shantanu, the father of the great general grandfather Bhīṣmadeva. He is a powerful incarnation of Narayan and he broadcasts the Vedic wisdom to the world. As such, Vyasadeva is offered respects before one chants the Vedic literature, especially the Puranas. Sukadeva Goswami was his son, and rishis like Vaisampayan were his disciples for different branches of the Vedas. He is the author of the great epic Mahabharata and the great transcendental literature Bhāgavatam. The Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta Sutras or Badarayana Sutras were compiled by him. Amongst sages, he is the most respected author by dint of severe penances. When he wanted to record the great epic Mahabharata for the welfare of all people in the age of Kali, he was feeling the necessity of a powerful writer who who could take up his dictation. By the order of Brahmaji, Sri Ganeshji took up the charge of noting down the dictation on the condition that Vyasadeva would not stop dictation for a moment. The Mahabharata was thus compiled by the joint endeavor of Vyasa and Ganesh. By the order of his mother Satyavati, who was later married to Maharaj Shantanu, and by the request of Bhīṣmadeva, the eldest son of Maharaj Shantanu, by his first wife the Ganga, he begot three brilliant sons whose names are Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. The Mahabharata was compiled by Vyasadeva after the battle of Kurukshetra and after the death of all the heroes of Mahabharata. It was first spoken in the royal assembly of Maharaj Janmejaya, the son of Maharaj Parikshit. So here, just in these very few lines, we can see the glories of Srila Vyasadeva. And that's why we consider the seat of Vyasa, the Vyasasan, on which we sit and give discourses on Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. It's a very, very sacred seat because we are following in the footsteps of Srila Vyasadeva. And that is why for us it is very important that we understand the allegiance or the strict observance of what Prabhupada has given us, because it is coming straight from Vyasadeva, the parampara. Prabhupada very much, he said, one of the things which will destroy ISKCON, nothing can destroy ISKCON from outside. One of the things which will destroy ISKCON from, in the future will be if there's any philosophical deviation. So here we understand Prabhupada is speaking about Vyasadeva, and he says, yes, he's the son of Mahamuni Parashar, who gave us the definition of Bhagavan, who is God, one who's full of six opulences, six Shadaishwarya Sampurna. He's Kṛṣṇa himself. And Mahamuni Parashar has given this definition to us. Satyavati, of course, as we know, she was a Matsya Gandha. She was a fisherwoman or fish girl. And when Mahamuni Parashar, he was attracted by Satyavati, and they begot a son, that is Vyasadeva. And then later on, with the blessing of Mahamuni Parashar, Satyavati still remained virgin. And then she married to Maharaj Shantanu, who was the father of Bhīṣmadeva. So there is connections here. Now, when we speak about these wonderful devotees, I just want to discuss a little background. So these devotees, Yudhishthira Maharaj, as we know, he's undergoing a very, very heavy remorse of killing so many people. He's saying that so many millions of people have been killed, and all we are left with are unprotected women and children and sick people and elderly people. So he's thinking that he doesn't want to become the ruler. He doesn't want to take the kingdom. He doesn't want to rule the kingdom. He's very morose, and he wants, like Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he also wants to give up his kingdom. And one by one, everyone is trying to console him, as we heard before. Actually, the brothers, especially Arjuna and Bhima, are getting a bit annoyed with Yudhishthira Maharaj, saying that we have won the dharma war, the battle of dharma, and now you are backflipping. That's not very nice. Bhima is actually getting a bit angry, and he's giving the stories, from the past as to why, doing our duty is the most important thing. So we understand here that even though it might be easier to take renunciation, and then among these rishis and munis, one of them is Devasthana. So Devasthana is actually advising Yudhishthira, and he's telling him that the life of a renunciator, life of an ascetic, is not as easy, because they have to undergo so many difficulties. At the same time, they have to perform their duties very properly. It is not that when we renounce, generally in the modern world, when we are facing some issues, some challenges in the society, we basically renounce from the world and want to get inside our homes. And but that's not renunciation, because in renunciation, both internal and external renunciation has to happen. For us, we just externally renounce, and internally we are still attached, and that's why all the mental challenges we go through. But Devasthana, he's saying that no, even an ascetic has to perform the duty, and at the same time, it's a very difficult life. So basically, everyone is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj one by one, and some of these rishis. Then Narad Muni, after Krishna has spoken to Yudhishthira, Narad Muni also is telling Yudhishthira that, this is, you have won the war. It's your right and it's your duty also to rule. People are waiting for your rule. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj is still not consoled. Then he comes to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva also tries to console him. But Vyasadeva says, at the end, when Yudhishthira Maharaj is not consoled, he says, okay, if you are arguing on the principles of morality and ethics and your kingly duties, your duties as a king, you should go to no one other than Bhīṣma Pitamaha. He is the one who is an expert in speaking about morality and your duties as a king. So these are the specific topics which Bhīṣmadeva will discuss with Yudhishthira Maharaj. Of course, the topic which is the transcendental to everything else, the glorification of Lord Shri Krishna, and the explanation of why the Pandavas suffered these reverses will also be explained very wonderfully by Bhīṣmadeva to Yudhishthira Maharaj. The rest of the purport is quite clear. Prabhupada is saying this. We should actually meditate on these wonderful personalities and see what lessons we can learn from them. From Vyasadeva, one lesson we can learn is that when we saw in the 5th chapter, after writing everything, when Narad Muni tells him that you have actually written everything but not written about the transcendental glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, Vyasadeva, he doesn't blink an eyelid. He accepts the order of spiritual master. He meditates, and in that meditation, this Srīmad Bhāgavatam, what we are studying, is the fruit of that meditation. So Vyasadeva, he doesn't feel that, oh, I've done so much, I cannot do any more. On the order of his spiritual master, he just starts thinking, goes into meditation, goes into trance, and then comes up with the Srīmad Bhāgavatam as we have it now. And before Bhāgavatam, of course, as Prabhupada says, that he also wrote, Prabhupada describes very beautifully here. You can see the difference in Prabhupada's purport. He says he is the author of the great epic Mahabharata. Yes, it's an epic. But then what is Bhāgavatam? Bhāgavatam is the great transcendental literature. So as we saw on Sunday, that Ramayana shows us how to lead, Mahabharata shows us how to live, but Bhāgavatam shows us how to live. So Bhīṣmadeva now will show us how to live. Brihadasva. Moving on, we'll speak about Brihadasva, an ancient sage who used to meet Maharaj Yudhishthira now and then. First of all, he met Maharaj Yudhishthira at Kamyavan. The sage narrated the history of Maharaj and Nala. There is another Brihadasva who is the son of the Ikshvaku dynasty, Mahabharata, Vanaparva 209.4 and 5. So here the story of Nala and Damayanti, as we would have heard. Yesterday in one of our classes, we took a father and a son, and then I was we are in the first chapter in this group, and I was asking the son Aryan that I was giving him the background of what is happening before the Bhagavad Gita is spoken. So then I asked him, did you know this background? He said, yes, I know from Amar Chitra Katha and the tales of Panchatantra. So even the story of Nala Damayanti is very well famous from the Amar Chitra Katha. The story of Nala Damayanti is one where Damayanti is the wife of Nala, and she is proving her chastity to her husband no matter what. so many reverses to go through, to such an extent that Nala was a very powerful person, very beautiful, handsome person, very expert singer. But he gets burnt, he gets cursed, he gets bitten by a snake, his body gets deformed. So many reverses they go through. But Damayanti, she recognizes Nal, because the story goes when Nala wanted to marry Damayanti, who was also very beautiful. 4 other devatas wanted to marry Damayanti. I think they were Indra, Surya, Varuna, and Yama, if I'm not mistaken. These are 4 devatas. They wanted to marry Damayanti. And when they approached Damayanti, they say, Damayanti said, no, I have given my heart to Nala, so I'm just going to marry Nala. And to test her chastity, they exactly take the form of Nala and tell Damayanti, okay, now you have to, within the 5 of us, actual Nala, and 4 of us, you have to actually find out who the real Nala is. And then Damayanti, knowing the scriptures, knowing her, having the knowledge, she looks at all 5 of them. And then when she sees that Nala is the one who's blinking the eyelid, Nala is the one who is sweating a little bit, he's having human expressions, and then she points out at the real Nala. And then these 4 demigods, they get very pleased with her, and then they give her different blessings. And life goes on, and this is the story of Nala Damayanti, where we see that at the end, when all these reverses are happening, Damayanti, after Nala has been bitten by a snake, he's burnt by fire, his body is completely deformed, he's lost everything, almost everything, but still Damayanti is very chaste to Nala. And then they get together and happily lived ever after, because Nala slowly, by performing devotional service, by living a good life, he actually regains all his opulences back. So Bridaswa is the one who narrated the history of Maharaja Nal and Damayanti. Does someone want to read about Bharadwaj, please? Unmute yourself and read about Bharadwaj.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Bharadwaja. He is one of the 7 great rishis and was present at the time of birth ceremony of Arjuna. The powerful rishi sometimes undertook severe penances on the shore of the Ganges, and his ashrama is still celebrated at Prayagdhama.
Prayagdhama, yes.
Prayagdhama. It is learned that this rishi, while taking bath in the Ganges, happened to meet Gritachi, one of the beautiful society girls of heaven, and thus he discharged semen, which was kept and preserved in an earthen pot, and from which Drona was born. So Dronacharya is the son of Bharadwaja Muni. Others say that the Bharadwaja, the father of Drona, is a different person from Maharishi Bharadwaja. He was a great devotee of Brahma. Once he approached Dronacharya and requested him to stop the battle of Kurukshetra.
Yes, so this is Bharadwaj. So these are the rishis who were present, and they also wanted to take advantage of the presence of Lord Krishna and to see Bhīṣmadeva passing away in the presence of Lord Krishna after giving instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. It's interesting from our mundane perspective when we see that these rishis get attached to all these, women. Parashar Muni is getting attached to Satyavati, and here Bharadwaj getting attached to Gritachi. So this shows actually that even at that level, we hear of Saubhari Muni. He was meditating under Ganga, under Yamuna for thousands of years, but he just saw 2 fish copulating, and he lost his meditation. So this way, we know that in the beginning of when I started studying these scriptures, one question came to my mind: what's the difference between the Rishi Munis, all these Rishis Munis, and a devotee? So it was explained to me that Rishi and Muni, yes, they are also wonderful devotees, but still they have not yet fully surrendered to the Lord. And that's why sometimes because of their desires, sometimes because of their mental speculation, sometimes because of their other allurements, some confusion, they go through these incidences, and they teach us a lesson also. A devotee, of course, will not go through all these things. When we speak of pure devotees, these are devotees, even when we hear of devotees like Haridas Thakur, when he was chanting his rounds in a cave, and when the prostitute came, and the next time when Maya Devi herself came, he was completely fixed on devotional service to the Lord, and he was completely fixed in chanting his rounds. So we can see that there's a difference between these Rishi Munis and the devotee. For us, we take lessons from these devotees that yes, whatever situation we are in, if we can take advantage and we can learn some lessons from these devotees. So here we see that Bharadwaja, he also was a great ascetic, a great rishi, and then he also could because of his position, he could approach Dronacharya and requested him to stop the battle of Kurukshetra. So one more reason, when people challenge us that why did Krishna speak these words of wisdom before the great battle, or why the great battle had to happen, Krishna could have spoken these words of wisdom anywhere else. But we can see from these stories that yes, all the efforts were made to try and stop this war. But this war had to happen because one, of course, Krishna's will. Krishna could have spoken Bhagavad Gita, and of course the evil-minded sons of Dhritarashtra would not listen to any wise counsel. Next one is Parshurama. Someone wants to read about Parshurama or Renuka Sutta?
I can read, Prabhu.
Sure.
He is Parshurama or Renuka Sutta. He is the son of Maharshi Jamadagni and Srimati Renuka. Thus, he is also known as a Renuka Sutta. He is one of the powerful incarnation of the god, and he killed the Kshatriya community as a whole 21 times. With the blood of the Kshatriya, he pleased the souls of his forefathers. Later on, he underwent severe penances at the Maharaj Parvata. After taking the whole earth from the Kshatriyas, he gave in the charity to the Kashyapa Muni. Parshuram instructed Dhanurveda, or the science of fighting, to Dronacharya because he happened to be the Brahmana. He was present during the coronation of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he celebrated the function along with the great rishis. Parshuram is so old that he met both Ram and Krishna at different times. He fought with Ram, but he accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also praised Arjuna when he saw him with Krishna. When Bhīṣma refused to marry Amba, who wanted him to become her husband, Amba met Parshuram, and by her request only, he asked Bhīṣmadeva to accept her as his wife. Bhīṣma refused to obey his order, although he was one of the spiritual master of Bhīṣmadeva. Parshuram fought with Bhīṣmadeva, and when Bhīṣma neglected his warning, both of them fought very severely, and at last Parshuram was pleased with Bhīṣma and gave him the benediction of becoming the greatest fighter in the world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So it's again quite interesting, purport which Prabhupada gives. So many connections are there, so many links are there. Parshuram, of course, as we know, he was the son of Jamadagni and Renuka. His story itself is coming later on in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, and wonderful story where just to avenge his father's death, he's killing all the completely Kshatriya community 21 times. Now just imagine, 21 times all the Kshatriya community are killed. It's by no means any small feat. And with the blood of Kshatriyas, Prabhupada says, he pleased the souls of his forefathers. And after that, he underwent severe penances at the Mahendra Parvat. But because, of course, as we know, Parshuram is one of the Dasha avatars, he's one of the 10 incarnations. He is also playing a particular Leela. And after taking this whole earth from the Kshatriyas, he gives it as a charity, because ultimately Parshuram was a Brahman. He was having the inclination, the proclivity of a Kshatriya, but he was a Brahman by birth. So he gave it in charity to Kashyap Muni. And then, of course, Parshuram being the expert in Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda means the science of fighting. Dhanur is like Dhanush. Dhanurveda is the art of fighting with bow and arrow. And he gave it to Dronacharya because Dronacharya was a Brahmana. So here we see there are personalities who are born in one particular Varna, but because of proclivity, they are practicing another Varna. For us also, it's important that we should understand what is my nature. When we act according to our nature, in Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa 3.33, he says everyone should act according to one's nature. What can repression accomplish? So we should act according to our nature. But then the caveat comes here, where yes, we can act according to nature, but not whimsically. And then I think in 334, the next verse, Krishna says that you have to follow the regulative principles of freedom. That we act according to our nature, but there are still regulative principles. So here we see that all these incidents which are narrated by Prabhupada in this purport, they all have their own regulations. It is not that these people are just doing what they feel like. Parshuram didn't fight and kill Kshatriya community just because he felt like that. And invariably we'll see that when some extreme happens, one of the seniors, one of the elders, one of the sages will come and try to pacify the situation, tries to pacify the personality, and they will restore the principles of devotion again. Like we see also in Dhruva Maharaj's case, when Dhruva Maharaj's brother was killed, and he started killing all the yakshas. He was just killing them indiscriminately. And then did Brahma come or Manu come? I forget now. Brahma came and then pacified, was it Manu? Anyway, one of them came and they pacified Dhruva and said, this is not good. You cannot just kill people indiscriminately. And then Dhruva, heeded to that counsel, heeded to that advice, and then stopped that. So here also we see that the regulative principles are definitely followed. So we take a lesson from Parshuram that yes, we act according to our nature, as Bhagavad Gita in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, but then also we have to understand that when we act according to nature, there are regulative principles of freedom. So if we follow the regulative principles, then we will be able to free ourselves. We will discuss a bit more on Lord Parshuram tomorrow, because there's lots to be said. Of course, quite a few rishis are still we have to discuss. So this probably purport is going to go for quite some time. It's interesting that all these rishis and personalities, including Vyasadeva, including Sukadeva Goswami, they were all present to hear Bhīṣma Pitamaha. I want to end with a prayer, collectively, because these are all the rishis collected, all the personalities collected. So as devotees, as an assembly of devotees, we can collectively pray to all these personalities that please allow us to be saved from our aham, our aparadha, our adharma, our agyan, and ultimately our ahankar. So if we pray to these personalities to be saved from these vices, progressing in devotional service will be quite easy. Thank you very much. It's 7 o'clock now. Granth Raj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or any reflections, any comments, please unmute yourself and speak up. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. You have a very wonderful Krishna conscious day. We'll see you, Krishna willing, tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Granth Srimad Bhāgavatam
Thank
ki
you,
jai.
Prabhu, very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you.